I study a very special kind of immune cell called the CD8 T cell. So CD8 T cells are really important for fighting viral infections, and in chronic infection they don't work so well. So I study sort of the inner workings of CD8 T cells, what makes them not work well in HIV, and how we can potentially make them better. And so I sort of study the transcription factors and metabolic pathways inside those cells, and we've discovered a couple factors that are really important for making functional CD8 T cells. And so we've done this through a number of different immunologic assays, looking at things on the cell surface and then also inside of the cell. Many people who are trying to think about how we can harness the immune system to cure HIV are thinking about targeting these very special T cells. So they want to make better CD8 T cells. And so we think that some of the factors that we're identifying with our studies might be things that we can think about designing interventions to eventually make better therapeutic vaccines or better other immunotherapies that would help for both HIV, other chronic infections, and hopefully also cancer. One of the major things I think about when I think about my research is whether we can think about something that make a better vaccine, hopefully to cure HIV. But I think a lot of people also talk about the idea of giving T cell therapy, so kind of infusing T cells. And in order to give good T cells that we infuse, we need to understand what makes good T cells. And so some of the pathways that I study, I think we can potentially apply to some of these therapeutic studies to make better T cells that we could potentially infuse. So I would say both for vaccines and also for thinking about in T cell therapies. Some of the pathways that I study, there are already clinically approved drugs to intervene upon them, and so theoretically you could imagine sort of designing some studies to look at whether this would help in HIV. In reality, clinical studies can take several years to complete, but hopefully we'll be able to use some interventions that are already clinically approved to be able to make these T cells better.